Hello everyone, and in this video we are going to learn two sections, which is like horizontal sticky type card related stuff, and it is a part of my this template which is not finished yet. It will be finished in future, and I'll leave a link in description which would be a paid template, but each section would have a tutorial on it. So I've already created a video on how to make this. I was planning to make on this one, but I found one issue that I need to fix because this was something that I was planning to make a video on. So what we are actually going to make today is this one. So this is the first design that we are going to make. This is also the first design. It is nothing different, but the second design is this one, which is what we are going to make. So you could see it's stacking from the right side. It's very easy to make, pretty quick to make. It's responsive too. So if you go like this, go up, it goes right like this. Choose however you want, whichever method you want. So how about we just get started? So we will make this one be 100 VH so that it is full screen. You could add anything in here. I'll keep 1300 for now, and then let's make it, I guess, black color like this. So remember, first we are making this one, so this design where it goes from left to right like this, you could see, and then we will learn to make like this design. In this wrapper I will create a heading which would be this heading, so our trusted process. You could name it anything and then size it however you want. I'm just going to rush through this process because it's very basic stuff. Now inside this one I will add another container which would contain all our cards. So not this one, this one. So all 4 of them like this. So I'll go in this container, add another one and call this, I guess, I don't know, cards container or something. Make sure it is full width, and inside this we will create 4 containers, so one for each card. So let's call this like card, and then I don't know, like 30%. Again, this is all like your choice how you want to do. What I'm going to do is make this card be 70 VH, so it will be 70% of this height of our website. Again, this is all like your design choices, okay, with how much you want, how big you want the card to be and all that stuff. If you are using full width, you can add some like minimum maximum stuff in here, but for now we are just designing the card. And I'm just going to copy this heading and paste it inside of this and call this as 1, so that I know this is like the first card. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do. Rest of it is just design, adding like stuff and all. I'm going to duplicate this 4 times. You could do it any number of times that you want and change the values. Make sure to change the colors too. And once we have changed the colors for all of them and done all the changes, I'll select this card container, make it go left to right. So it is like this, left to right. And now we can make this card container, you can see it is 100, right? So if you want, we can even make it be like 130, so it goes like beyond this size. So right now it is 150, right, like this, you could see, which means it is going outside. And to make sure that there's no horizontal scrolling happening, so like this scroll bar like this, the up and down doesn't show at the bottom, we can select our wrapper, go into additional settings and make the overflow hidden so that everything outside this container gets hidden. Then we can select our card and basically just go into advanced, transform, and do some rotations like this. Select this card, do again offset, rotations like this. And then if you want, you could even do some offset. So if you want to move it a bit left and right, you can even do based on percentage if you want to kind of overlap it. Just do it however you want, whatever style you like. Percentage is usually good to do because everything is in percent, right? If everything was in pixel, then it would have been okay, but with percentage it would be equally placed every time if the screen is changing basically. Now you could see I cannot see the fourth card, right? So what we can do for temporary purposes is select the card container, go into advanced, go into its transform, and we can offset it towards left, which is weird. I don't know why it's doing some weird effect like this where it is moving everything. So what we can instead do is we can select our card container, go to position absolute, and then we can move it towards left, because this is what we are going to use to actually animate. So we will make it be like very outside like this, and then slowly make it go in like this. So let's just go and make it towards left. Select this one. Let's go to our transform, percentage offset. I want it to overlap like this, and then do some rotation. Okay, so trying to create some nice shape. Once everything is done, select your card container and make it to be default so that it goes like this to its original location, because we would still be using position absolute, but I have done it in the code because it's easier to work that way. So in our wrapper, we can go and add an HTML widget which would contain all the code. This would be in the description, and make sure it is at the end of all your elements. So you could see no element is after our HTML widget. Now before we do anything, we actually need to give the CSS classes. Now we need to give some CSS classes to this one, right? So the classes are as follows. So this wrapper one, actually we do not give it to the wrapper, we give it to this one. I think I should have just named it like this. So instead of naming this, I can name it as horizontal section, and then I can call this as card wrapper so that you don't get confused. So you can name it anything, it doesn't matter, but the class needs to be same. So card wrapper, which is this one, which contains all these 4 cards, we'll give it DM horizontal wrapper 1, and then this DM horizontal section 1 is what we will give it to this horizontal section like this. To tell you what's actually happening is we are giving the wrapper 1 position absolute in the code and giving left 150. So if I go to this card wrapper and if I give this position absolute and I gave this, let's say 150, you could see it just disappeared, and then we slowly bring it back like this. So you guys understand what I'm doing currently? So let's make this default, and we will do it via our code and not via this setting. And one thing is, if you scroll down in the code, it says minus 130% in here. This card wrapper has been given 150%. So for me, I'll give here minus 150% like this. So based on what size you're using, it will change. Okay. So let's select the code, go into our HTML and paste it. Let's see how this looks. I think there would be some issues, but let's just see. I forgot to add the initializer codes. You don't need to do anything. I will update in the code so that you copy it. It works automatically. But we just initialize GSAP around here and scroll trigger. Let's do preview. If something like this happens, just refresh the page and hope that it shows again. So this is how it looks. Let's go. And it's a bit weird, right? It is way too weird right now. So what's happening? Let's see. In our card wrapper, let's make sure wrap is set to no wrap, so it goes left to right without wrapping. So here's one thing I want to do. So the card wrapper, I can actually see around here, but we will select our card wrapper, go in here and set this to be 100% so that it is basically 100 VH, because when you use absolute, you could use 100% and then it will take whatever the parent size is, which is 100 VH, right? Because this is the parent, and then we have minimum 100 like this. And then I can set this to be, let's say, center like this, and everything would be like normal now. Let's do wave. And if I scroll, you could see it is now going like this. The size of it is completely dependent on, the size of this card wrapper. So if I make this to be, guys, 120, and then go into my HTML widget, and instead of doing 120, I'm going to do like 100, minus 100, so that it does not go like fully towards left. If I scroll down, you could see it is going down. It doesn't go like fully towards left because it takes some space around here. Kind of gives like a nice design, I guess, but this is the first design and you could add anything in here. It is also responsive. You just need to play around with the values and make it like smaller, like the cards needs to be smaller. in the mobile wave. Just leave a comment if you're struggling with it. Now let's create the second version, which is, if I go down, this one. So here's how it looks. So the process is same, but there's some changes. Okay, so I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh this page because we added some code, and again Elementor editor just kind of works weirdly when you add like GSAP code, which is why if you want to do some edit, make sure to remove the code which is added in the HTML widget. Like just remove it, do a publish, and then do a refresh so that no code is running, and then you can go again and do some changes. For example, just remove all this code, do publish, refresh, and then it will not run the code, and then you could do some changes. After doing all the changes, add the code again. Kinda annoying, but still better. Now for the second design, what we are going to do. So first thing first, we'll create a container. I'll make it 1300 and then 100 VH. Again, make it black. Call this as section or something. Inside this, we will create two containers. So first one would be full width, and then go and add another container, or basically duplicate this one and make it go left to right. So the left one would have all the text, and the right one would have what you call like all our cards. Add your text. And this is the basic setup for now. And what I'm going to do is let's first go into our right container, which would contain our cards, and add one card like this by adding a container and call it a card like this. I'll give it like 70 VH, so it is at least 70% of the height. And then if we want, we can do some small size. So this is 50%. Nope, let's just add some size, 50 and then 50, I guess, like this. So like the left container is 50, the right container is 50 size, and inside this the card is 90, so it will be 90% of whatever this container is. Let's add a color that would make it easy to understand. Add your borders and all, do all the styling and all. Now the way we did for the previous one was a bit different, but this one we will do a bit different. So what we are going to do, we are going to stack all the cards on top of each other directly, and then with GSAP we will move them outside and then slowly bring them one by one. So this card, which is like 90% of whatever the size it is, you just have to style it to your liking. Okay, make sure this card is selected, go into advanced, go to position absolute, and place it in the center. We will do like 50%. This is like a good way to place in center. So we do 50-50 like this. So now this point is at the 50 of this container, which is parent, from left and top. And then we select this card, go to transform, offset, we do -50, like -50, and then do percentage again and do -50. So now this places in center. One shortcut method, I don't know if I should one shortcut method is to just go into container and then enable this one, which is center, and go to your card, give position absolute, and make both of these 0. That would also work, but this is usually how we do when we do with coding, if you want to place something in center with position absolute. But with Elementor, this is possible, where you just go into the parent container, select it to be center, go to the card, select position absolute, and completely remove this. Don't type 0, just do like backspace or something, and it will be in center. But when you try to add some elements, it might kind of cause some issue, which is why I like to use this method, which is adding 50%, and then doing offset in the -50, and it places in center. Let's do some rotate. Let's now duplicate 4 times and add some different colors. So our goal was simple, that is to place all of this on top of each other, just like we did right now. One thing I'm seeing is that when I do rotate, it is actually rotating from this pivot point, which I don't know why. It is probably happening because of this thing, but still it shouldn't actually happen that way. So for now, let's just keep it that way, and let me see if I can fix it. But you just have to place it on top of each other. It doesn't matter which method you use, but this is one method where you use position absolute and just stack it on top of each other. If you have any other method, you could use it 100%, go for it. Now we need to give the CSS classes. So again, DM horizontal wrapper 3. It doesn't really matter. I think we just need to give like DM horizontal section 3 to this one, which is section DM horizontal section 3, and then this DM horizontal card 3 we need to give to each car. So this car like this, each one of them. Make sure to give the section overflow hidden so that everything that is outside this container gets hidden. So anything outside this container basically gets cut off. And then we copy this code into our section where we have one container on the left, right container here, and we can add it in here, or you could add it below. So you could add like in a whole new container below, but for time being I'm just adding it here. But remember that this element actually is like an element there. So if we go to section and if I try to do 0, you could see it changes. So this HTML widget, if I give it responsive hidden like this, and what's happening is that there's gap between like 20 pixels gap between this and this, and then there's also gap between like 20 pixels here and here, which is why it's good to have like a completely new container like this, where you add this HTML widget, so that this container its only job is to contain this code like this. You could do 0 0 0 with padding like this for this container, so that even though this container exists in here, it does not take any space. And you could add any HTML widget, you could select this and then make this responsive hidden, and it just would not take any space. But for video purposes, I'm just keeping it here. But just to tell you guys, okay, in case you are wondering like why is my design not aligning and all, in this HTML widget we copy the code and then we do publish. It is already working, you could see like this. It is already working. All I'm simply doing is in this code, in case it's not working for you right now, just to publish, refresh, or go into live page like this, because as long as it works in the live page, it's good, right? And then we can scroll and it creates this stacking container or stacking cards until it is all of them on top of each other like this. One important thing, you could see that what I'm doing in the code is I'm taking this card and I'm making them go left 300%. So all this card, we have given it 50, right? I'm making it go 300% outside this one, and then as we scroll, it goes to 50%, which is added via our Elementor. So in case this 300% is being less, which I highly doubt would be less, you could increase it to a lot so that it goes outside your container. Another thing is, why is this being not aligned perfectly? So that's one doubt that I have. So one easy fix that I can show you guys is I'm going to go into my HTML and then paste it in here and then remove this. We can use the second method that I mentioned previously. Let's refresh so that we see without any code. We could do it this way, where in our container we set it to be center like this, and then we go to our card, go into advanced and make this empty, completely empty, and make sure this is also offset is set to normal, and this way it will rotate from the center. But this would also lead to a problem where if you try to add anything into this container, which is text, it would be in center instead of, let's say, if you want to keep it around here. So that way, if you do for all the cards where you make this empty right now and make this be having no offset, you can actually do it from the center like this, and it will basically work. Everything else is the same, you just have to copy the code and paste it. Everything would work, but basically right now you could see we are rotating from the center instead of rotating from this edge. So yeah, that's all for this video. It is fully responsive. You just have to go into your mobile and then reduce the size and all, and it will basically just work. So yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Consider subscribing, liking.